Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Crawford's Mexican victory. Man, I'm surprised. I'm not really surprised, but let me just say this. The Mexican fans are starting to support Terence Crawford. Viva el Negro Cabrones. That's what they're shouting. When you start hearing them horns pop off, bing, 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 bing. That shit for Terence Crawford. Now we're in fight week. That fight week energy is something different. And I can't wait to see Terence Crawford and Canelo get in that ring Saturday so we can really see what's going on. But understand this. The atmosphere around Terence Crawford and Canelo is beyond electric. Everybody has an opinion, but I'm surprised to see, even with the odds makers, Crawford is closing that gap. A lot of people believe Crawford's going to be the favorite going into Saturday when he enters the ring against Canelo. But there's a surprising undercurrent, and I kind of touched on it already. Some Mexican fans, traditionally Canelo's most loyal fan base, because Canelo gets respect from all across the world. Globally, he gets global respect. But a lot of his most loyal fan base is starting to favor Terence Crawford. Now, I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying there's enough Mexican fans who once supported Canelo, who's now supporting Crawford, where they're making enough noise to notice. I'm telling you, yesterday I went grocery shopping. My wife, she was at work. She's a labor and delivery nurse, right? So I went grocery shopping. And then on the way home, I got 2 pizzas for my sons. And we seasoned up chicken and beef. She made spaghetti. I'm making beef soup, Trinidad style. And I'm currying chicken. So we got plenty of food in the house, right? But while I'm up there in Papa John's getting the pizzas, about 6 Mexican workers in there. And I go in and I'm talking to them about Crawford and Canelo. And I ain't gonna lie, man. They were like, yo, I'm Mexican, man. So, you know, I'm hoping that Canelo kind of wins, but at the same time, I think Crawford's gonna beat him. I'm like, yeah, so you rooting for Canelo or Crawford? And then there's like 6 of them. 4 of them like, F Canelo. We rooting for Crawford. Canelo's afraid to fight real challenges. I was like, holy shit. And I'm like, well, y'all know y'all say that around here, somebody gonna kill your asses. And we all started laughing. But I just think it has something to do with Canelo not pushing himself at this point in his career. Now, we know when it comes to Terence Crawford, I think there's several reasons why he's getting supported. One is some Mexicans feel Canelo has become too bushy. But there are others who recognize that Terence Crawford has had more of a calculated outreach to the Mexican fan base, wearing Viva Mexico gear, speaking respectfully about Mexican boxing culture, and then for him to come and position himself as the underdog, willing to take on the bigger man, something Canelo didn't want to do fighting David Benavidez. So when you look at that, one thing I can tell you about the Mexican fans, they love a scrap, a mash-up, crash-up, someone who doesn't quit, someone who's going to get up there, get in the ring, and give it their all. Even if you lose, push yourself. And they're looking at Terence Crawford, and they're looking at the work he's put in across his boxing career, and they're saying, Viva el Negro Cabrones. And you better believe it, man, that shit's going to be loud and clear this weekend when Crawford gets in the ring. Don't be surprised. I mean, I know the crowd's going to be pro-Canelo, but don't be surprised if Crawford gets some of them horns on his side. Bing, 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 bing. Don't be surprised because the writing's on the wall that Terence Crawford, the respect he's given that Mexican boxing culture, they're starting to repay that. Anyway, when it comes to Canelo and the boxing fans and frustrated with his matchmaking, everybody been frustrated with Canelo's matchmaking. You see, I'm going to tell you, has he avoided dangerous opponents in their prime? I mean, yeah, he wanted to do with David Benavidez. We all know why. Benavidez is a real threat. But I do know David Benavidez and his dad have been very disrespectful. But at the same time, that just gives Canelo, like Crawford going to be looking for them escape routes when they're in the ring. That gives Canelo an escape route to be like, shit, good. Now I can use this as an excuse not to fight David Benavidez. But this is the thing. Canelo is trying to do what Floyd Mayweather did. I understand he's trying to take a play out of Floyd Mayweather's playbook. He fought Floyd. He adopted a lot of Floyd's styles, a lot of the habits that Floyd had, a lot of the tools he brought into the ring. But he also adopted this A side. I can do what I want. I can fight who I want. I put in the work just like Floyd Mayweather, so if he can do it, I can do it. Hey, yo, hold your horses, Canelito. There's only one Floyd Mayweather, man. Canelo ain't on no damn level of no Floyd Mayweather. I know that people are going to be in the comments trying to spar me. Oh, hood champion, you full of shit. You just hate Canelo because he's Mexican. Man, I tell you Canelo's great. I'm just telling you he ain't Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather put in work. And I'm not saying Canelo didn't come out here and do the business, but he ain't Floyd Mayweather. And that's why. I think he's come out here and just been really disgusting with his matchmaking, and that's why so many of the Mexican contingent have turned their back on him and are supporting Terrence Crawford. And Crawford's going to get the biggest Mexican victory for someone who's a non-Mexican. Now, when you think about Crawford's undefeated record and the way he's been dominating, I mean, you got a narrative that's tempting, even for fans who normally support their countryman, but true boxing fans are going to look and say, Crawford deserves the respect and deserves my support. Now, when Crawford and Canelo get in that ring, I've been looking at this, is it the speed that's going to be the flashpoint, or is it conditioning? But I think both are. But really, that speed between Crawford and Canelo is the flashpoint. You see, the first 4 rounds, the conditioning doesn't matter because these guys are athletes, professional athletes. They can give you a good 4 rounds, okay? So I don't think the flashpoint is going to be conditioning. I think it's speed because Crawford's going to have to move. He's going to have to time. He's going to have to see openings. He's going to have to counter. Canelo's going to have to stalk. He's going to have to cut the ring off. He's going to have to look for opportunities. He's going to have to try to exploit. He's going to have to try to land, time, counter. So I think at the core of the fight, I think the most intriguing thing is going to be speed. We know Crawford has worked on making sure he comes in the ring with his welterweight speed and super middleweight power. Canelo has done things to work on his hand speed, work on his foot speed, because he knows he's going to have to try to find a way to catch up to Terrence Crawford. I have a tough time seeing him do that. When you talk about Crawford, his hand speed, foot speed, reaction time, that's elite. And probably the best that Canelo's faced since Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather. So now we're trying to picture Canelo figuring out a way to take away the hand speed of Crawford, the foot speed of Crawford, the reaction time of Crawford, the processing time, what he does, and cognitively. Canelo's got to figure out a way to take all that away. That's a lot of expectation, I'll put it to you that way. And although Crawford's 37, he still fights like a man who's hungry and in his prime. That's because of genetics, snack, discipline, training, diet, everything. It all comes together and culminates to ultimately give you what you have in Crawford, who's a damn near an alien, man. Now, this is what's going to be horrible for Canelo. Crawford's conditioning means he's not going to fade late. He's got speed and he's got conditioning. The two things I said is at the core of this fight, but speed being the most intriguing. Now, Canelo, of course, he's not slow. Canelo is not slow. But he's more methodical, more patient. He believes, shit, I could lose the first 4 rounds. He believes in his power and catching up to Crawford. But Crawford ain't Amir Khan. Amir Khan is a guy who thinks punch, 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 move, punch, 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 move, punch, 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 move, like an amateur. Turn that down. You coming in here? Go ahead, sit over there. You gotta turn that down, okay? You heard the thunder outside? It scared you? Okay. It's my little man. Where your headphones, Pocho? Where your headphones, man? Headphones. You don't want them? I don't know, man. Maybe you haven't been there. But you can stay here until I'm done if you don't want to go back out there. Okay, stay in here. Stay in here. I'll be done in about 30 minutes. You sit right there and relax, okay? Okay. Well, you want to take the chair and sit right there? Sorry, that's my arm. You want to take, Pocho, come here. You want to take this chair and just sit right there so you can turn up the volume on your switch? Go ahead. Grab that. Grab that one. Which one do you want? This one? Yeah. Open the door. Go ahead. Open the door and then take the chair right outside the door so I can see you. Because I have the French doors, yep. You could close both doors of Daddy's office and then I can see you. Go ahead, close that door. You okay right there? Okay. All right. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, Canelo. I don't edit things out because I'm human and my kids are the priority, and hopefully you guys make sure your kids are the priority, right? But for a guy like Canelo, he's patient. He's more methodical. But you can't let 4 or 5 rounds go. I mean, Crawford's not Amir Khan. Amir Khan just punch, 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 move, punch, 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 move. He's never thinking. He's never thinking. His thing is just green light, go. Crawford's not like that. Crawford's going to punch, 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 move, look, assess, think, maybe move some more, set his feet, position his feet to counter, to do something, set a trap. But he's not just out there like Amir Khan. So don't think that Canelo's patience is going to pay off down the line because Crawford is going to just start letting his hands go just to do it. No, any and everything Crawford does is with the purpose. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Canelo, he relies on economy of motion, timing, and precision, rather than raw quickness. Oh, you got it? Okay. Better? and instead of just that raw quickness, you know what I mean, like Amir Khan. So this stylistic clash is why when you look at Crawford, you look at Canelo, many believe it's impossible for Canelo to match Crawford's speed. And why the conversation inevitably turns to whether timing can bridge the gap. Now, when it comes to trying to time hand speed, look, there's a theory behind that. In boxing, you can absolutely offset hand speed. You know what I mean? But how does he time a guy like Crawford's hand speed when Crawford is a guy who's all about timing you, setting traps, counterpunching, and being fast? And he has a longer reach. I just think when you look at Canelo, trying to perfectly time a counter before a guy like Crawford throws a jab and then tries to come back with his backhand or backhand left or right hand, to try to get your counter off before the second punch even comes out the chamber. I just don't know how he's going to do that. I mean, I'm just trying to, where's Canelo going to get this speed from? And where's he going to get this reach from to be able to get to Crawford and touch Crawford before Crawford can let these shots out the chamber? Now, against Amir Khan, he was able to do it because Amir Khan just had the goddamn safety on full blast, and he was just in the ring, just letting punches go. Crawford's not like that, man. So I don't know if Canelo can pull off on Crawford what he did to Khan. And this shit about Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. Let me tell you something. Canelo can counterpunch. But he used to be able to throw creative combinations, but nobody can counterpunch in time like Juan Manuel Marquez. We know Manny Pacquiao's hands are super fast. And he used to do this foot feint shit. Double, triple foot feints with his hands down right there around his waist. And he did that fight after fight after fight. And he became predictable, which Crawford is unpredictable. And he had a pattern, fight after fight after fight. They knew he would do it. And he did that shit at the end of the fight, messing around. And he got timed. And he got tranquilized. And Juan Manuel Marquez sent his ass back to the Philippines. A Filipino, right back to the Serengeti province. Got his ass up out of there. So to think that Canelo can do what Marquez did, Canelo doesn't have the talent of Marquez. And Crawford doesn't have the speed of Pacquiao. But one of the main discernments here between Crawford and Pacquiao is Crawford doesn't play in the ring. Crawford's not going to do no 2, 3, 4 foot feint, stupid shit with his hands down. He's not doing that. So Manny Pacquiao got caught and got turned into pork adobo and shit. So anyway, we'll see how that Canelo trying to time Crawford hand speed works out. Because we know he was able to throw that single right hand and clip Amir Khan. I just don't think he can do that to Crawford, because now you're talking about how timing works, because it's about anticipation. How can you anticipate somebody like Crawford who's unpredictable? Who in every fight's different. In every round he's doing something different. You can't come out here and try to anticipate, and just definitely can't recognize his rhythm, because he's always changing up. So for me, if you can read where a punch is coming from, you can meet it with your own shot or your own defensive move, regardless of who's faster on paper. But I just think Terence Crawford is way too intelligent to sit there and allow himself to be consumed by the moment to now, for the first time in his boxing career, to become predictable, which will allow Canelo to time him. Now, what's the realism of Canelo timing Crawford? Look. Here's the challenge. We know Canelo's from Guadalajara, Jalisco. We know Canelo's a bad boy. We know what he's done moving up the weights, how he became undisputed at 168, and within a year what he did. But see, Crawford's not just fast. He's the X factor. He's always coming from the left, coming from the right. Come on. Put it up. Hey, put it up here. Get up. You getting in the chair? Huh?
I'm gonna do that.
Go ahead. You need help? Okay. Helping my son. I'm finish the video. I'm not editing this out. This is the real deal right here. And nothing brings me more joy than being a dad. So fuck this video. Come on, man. Get up here. You have your stuff? You want to tell these people hi? Because come on, let them see who you are. All right. So, you want this? There you go. Get your headphones plugged up? All right, Daddy, you got to do this video, man. So plug up your headphones and so I can finish this, all right? Okay. All right, man. Sorry about that, but I got to take care of my little man. Okay, back on Canelo. The realism of Canelo timing Terence Crawford. I don't know how realistic that is. If Crawford slows down, then Canelo can. I think he can try. And maybe he'll get within an inch or two of landing, but I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. Crawford has a longer reach. He knows how to utilize the whole ring. They're going to be in a 20-foot ring. I can see Canelo reaching, getting off balance. I know Canelo has an explosive first step. I just don't think Crawford is going to foolishly be there for Canelo to land his time shots. I think Canelo's going to be coming up short. Crawford's coming at you from the left, from the right, changing rhythms, and he always disguises his leads, so you don't know what you're going to get from Terence Crawford. And that makes him harder to time than a fighter with a fixed style. You think about the guys Canelo's faced, most of them had fixed styles. They may have had a plan B, plan C. Crawford has a plan A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. A plan D, E, F, G, H, all the way to Z. And that is just, for me, to be honest with you, it's going to be very difficult for Canelo. Actually, Canelo's best chance to time Bud is to force him into predictable patterns. But how the hell is Canelo going to force a guy like Bud into a predictable pattern? How do you force somebody who's unpredictable to all of a sudden become predictable? How? He got to cut the ring off. All of a sudden now you want to make sure Bud can't travel down this street, go down this avenue. But again, how's he going to do that? When Bud's feet are too fast, his IQ is too sharp, he knows how to utilize the whole geography of the ring, and, to not be in the danger zone. I'm just really trying to picture this. How is Canelo going to sit here now and try to bait Crawford? See, this is where you're going to see high-speed chess. How does he bait Crawford to throw certain punches from certain positions? How are you going to make Crawford throw shots that he doesn't want to throw? That's all I'm saying. You see, with Canelo, with Amir Khan, because all he wants to do is throw. That's why he was able to touch him up. Amir Khan, he's not even a guy who's, he does think. You know what he thinks? Green light, go. That's all he thinks. Go, 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 go. So he's predictable. You get him to throw certain punches, and then you counter him and time him. So I just not seeing Canelo being able to do that to Terence Crawford. Now, if Crawford were to tire, then maybe, Canelo will get the late fight slowdown, but Crawford doesn't tire, so Canelo's not going to get the late fight slowdown. But Crawford could get the late fight slowdown when it comes to Canelo, because Canelo's conditioning is nowhere near Terence Crawford's. So the way Canelo's used to exploiting fighters down the stretch, you watching it be Crawford exploiting Canelo. So what this means is that Canelo's timing's got to be dialed in from the opening rounds, not just the second half, because the fact that he's cool with losing rounds, just like Gervonta Davis, knowing that his power is going to show up down the stretch. That shit ain't going to happen with Terence Crawford unless Crawford just somehow, takes it to the stupid. But I doubt that. Now, I always wondered, can you time footwork? And then I started thinking, you can time footwork. I didn't think about it until I was talking just now about how Juan Manuel Marquez timed the footwork of Manny Pacquiao. So you can time footwork. But elite fighters, a guy like Canelo, a guy like Crawford, they're not just watching hands, they watch the whole body. And Juan Manuel Marquez showed us that a really smart fighter, high IQ fighter, is going to see more than just the hands. So there's going to be little subtle tells, a weight shift, a hip turn, a heel lift, that can signal when an opponent's about to move a punch. If you can read those cues, you can step into their path, cut them off, or punch into the space they're moving into. And that's a heel lift. That's exactly what Pacquiao did. He lifted his heels, stupidly did 2-3 foot feints, and got timed and caught. Now, I'm just telling you right now, I just don't see. I've seen Canelo show the skills, especially against Caleb Plant and Billy Joe Saunders, where he was able to anticipate lateral movement, met them with hooks to the body or, the shots upstairs, and then pivot away. Let me finish the video, okay? As they were trying to pivot away. But against Terrence Crawford, I don't see Crawford doing anything predictable to where Canelo's going to be able to somehow anticipate it and time his feet. I don't know, I'm having a tough time seeing that. So anyway, can Canelo really time Crawford's footwork? It's possible, but it's harder with most opponents. You know, Crawford's footwork is more reactive. You know what I mean? He does everything with a purpose. Everything with a purpose. He's not just moving to move. Like Amir Khan moves his hands just to move his hands. Crawford's not just moving his feet to move his feet. You know, he's reacting, moving with a purpose. He's in response to what you do. So Crawford is locked in to what the fighter's doing. So what that means is Canelo is going to have to create triggers to try to get Crawford to move in predictable ways. But again, we're talking about high IQ shit, high speed chess. To think he's just going to get Crawford to move in a way that he can predict and then come out here and clip him. For example, feint high to draw a step back, then stepping in with the body shot as Bud retreats. That sounds simple. That sounds easy to do, but not against Terrence Crawford. Now, I do think if Canelo can jab to the chest, he can freeze Bud's feet and then cutting the angle. I could see that working because, you know, Bud's chest is there to be hit. But the danger is that Bud can also time Canelo's forward steps and meet him with sharp counters. So either way you go, Canelo going to be in the danger zone in there with Terrence Crawford. Now, you may say, all right, I hear that, but there's got to be different ways. You're making it seem like Crawford just can't be timed. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I just think he's going to be a step ahead of Canelo. But there are different ways of timing an opponent. And there's several methods that fighters use. Counter timing, waiting for a specific punch and firing over or under it. The right hand over a jab is a good example. Rhythm disruption, changing your own tempo to throw off the opponent's timing, then catching them mid-adjustment. Feinting, drawing a reaction you've already prepared an answer for. So you do something, get them to react, and bing, you're ready to go. You already got one in the chamber, and your shit's off safety on full blast. Pattern recognition, noticing that after a certain move, the opponent always follows with the same punch and step. That shit is suicide. And then positional timing, you know, forcing the opponent into a spot in the ring where the options are limited, making the next move easier to predict. But these different ways of timing an opponent are very effective. I'm not so sure Canelo can do this against Crawford, although Canelo has used all of these at different points in his career. But can you apply them against someone who's unpredictable and as adaptive as Terrence Crawford? So is Canelo overconfident? I mean, his demeanor has been pretty calm, dismissive of the idea that Bud will have some kind of speed to trouble him, power that'll trouble him, IQ to trouble him, reach that will trouble him. You know, so I see it as overconfidence. Some see it as just being confident. But I just think he's not giving enough credit to the fact that Crawford's undefeated and has made elite fighters look ordinary. But Canelo has fought at the highest level for over a decade, so confidence is part of his psychological warfare. He's been in with bigger punches, faster fighters, slicker movers. He's beaten most of them. The danger is that if his confidence turns to underestimating Crawford, I think Canelo's going to be shocked because, again, Crawford's adaptability is something else. And I will say this in defense of Canelo. The blueprint that Floyd showed to beat him, Bivol showed to beat him, Lara showed to make it competitive, that blueprint doesn't exist. Canelo's not going to allow them same mistakes to happen. That's why I think it boils down to speed and conditioning. That's what it boils down to. Who's going to have the better speed early in the fight to land their shots, and down the stretch, who has the better conditioning? And I just think when you look at it early, both are going to probably have speed, but down the stretch, I just think Crawford's going to have the better conditioning. He always has the better conditioning. So I can't see Canelo, who's shown, signs of dire fatigue and shit, from round 6 or 7 on to all of a sudden getting there and out stamina Crawford? How? You have another damn Panama Lewis, Aaron Pryor moment in the corner, and Eddie Reynoso be shouting, "Give me the black buckle, the black buckle." No, the one I mix. And then Canelo come out there, them lungs full, and run Crawford's ass up out the ring. Anyway, man, Crawford's a unique problem. He's a fighter with elite speed, got the power that carries up in weight, stamina to maintain his style for 12 rounds. So if Canelo's confidence blinds him to the adjustments he'll need to make, it could cost Canelo. Remember, Crawford, according to his team, he has maintained his welterweight speed but picked up super middleweight power. That sounds good, doesn't it? But we'll find out if all that shit is true when they get in the ring. So as far as a fan's perspective and why this fight is split in loyalties, look, some Mexican fans, this fight isn't about nationalism, man. It's about style matchups and momentum. Crawford is coming off dominant wins while Canelo has had a few performances. Bivol, Ryder, Berlanga, Munguia, school where he looked human to horrible. And in Bud's charm offensive towards Mexican fans, you got the perfect storm where some of those guys are willing to back the outsiders. So it is what it is. So the bottom line, for me, it's like you always got to ask a final question before you end your video, especially when we're talking about this. Look, in the end, the fight may come down to whether Canelo can make Crawford's speed irrelevant through Canelo timing Crawford. Both hands and feet, which I just don't know if he's going to be able to time Crawford's hands and feet. And whether he can do it without taking too much damage in the process, because Crawford's going to be looking to counter. Timing can beat speed, but only if you can read the opponent and force them into predictable patterns. How's Canelo going to do that to Crawford? Against a fighter as fluid and tireless as Crawford, that's a monumental task. Canelo's confidence suggests he believes he's up to it. Fight Night would tell us if that confidence was earned or if it was the first crack in his armor. All I'm going to say is this. I can't wait for Saturday to get here. But right now, it's looking like, it's smelling like, it's tasting like, it's sounding like. Viva el Negro Cabrones. In the breeze.